All right, guys. Let's do this. From Risk of Rain 2, this is Con lentitud poderosa. All right. So it's a very sad march that's being established with the piano. And that very unique sound he's using for a secondary melody. Do, 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 do. Oh, nice, an acoustic guitar. All right, before we get into this, I promise I will take it back and we'll bring it back in with the heaviness. I loved, like I was saying earlier, the established kind of like painful last walk. It seemed very sad. It was like a slow march. And as that piano was starting to meander and build, remember I was talking about that other sound. It's kind of a synthy melody sound in the background that had kind of an ominous little sizzle to it, but it was a little ambient. And then the guitar comes in, and even the guitar, it's a little mono signal. It's not a bold, recorded guitar. Even when it noodles off and does a couple of solo little melodic lines, it still keeps you in that heavy kind of downtrodden kind of vibe. But where the spook kind of comes in is that organ. I don't know if it's it's a Leslie or a Hammond or whatever. Tons of reiterations of organs in today's world with synths and stuff. He's holding down these longer, darker chords. So the chords that the piano player, that Chris is playing, if he's playing the piano, right? So he's playing and he's doing rhythmical work on those chords, right? Whereas that organ is just holding down that chord. The notes that he has there, probably just the basic and the root and everything, but it just, as Chris meanders with the piano, that organ is just kind of hanging in the background. It's very haunting. So I saw somebody leave a couple comments that this was the last track of the game or something like that, to be continued kind of vibe, but really love the established ambience on that. Okay, let me take it back so we can get in on the heaviness authentically. That trading off in leads between the moogs is really, really great. So this has in it a whiter shade of pale kind of vibe, you know, a very famous song. It's the chord changes that are making these little transitions that are bringing you down and then bringing you down and then brings you back up to start the journey again. And then what ends up happening is that there is a tug of war between the melodies, not so much against themselves, but he keeps switching off lead sounds. But at the same token, way in the back, especially here on the left side, I can hear a little meandering lead going on with the guitar through this. So it's this constant conversation of moving melody by him assigning different sounds to certain sections. Or if he's playing, like, let's say a unique Moog sound that maybe he's developed and programmed and stuff, that it breathes differently as the octaves move up and come down. But it does sound like he's coming in and out, like he's answering back his own leads, and could be in the same pass. Not that he's overdubbing another one. He could be going and then doing it, you know, in harmony. But there's a lot going on here. But I guess, like you guys have been saying, this is an end theme or something like that. So this is like that big tantada. So I don't know if this is where the, you know, the characters are walking off into the sunset, getting ready, you know, kind of a cliffhanger thing, or if it's a, like if they're running credits at this point or anything like that. Oops. See? 2 leads. Oh, this is when you're heading into a fight. Okay, I get it. Now you must be standing at the door of doom right now or something. A didgeridoo. Very haunting noise, leaving that off like that. That was killer. I love that. And also, like usual, I'm a big fan of hybrid compositions where you have synth crossover arrangements that are going on. And in this case, like I said, that whiter shade of pale, that song I said earlier, drums, bass, guitar happening in the background, but the predominant in the leads were kind of the Moog or the monophonic. They could have been qualifying, but monophonic kind of a lead sound. But even at the end, I was like, oh yeah, he's answering himself. He's like, you can hear it on this side. So I thought that was great. God, I love, you know, lately I've been actually, this weekend was a really long weekend, so I kind of laid low, and I just actually, believe it or not, sat in my old man Lazy Boy, and I just kind of chilled and put OSTs on my TV, and I have a little Bluetooth thing, and I was just listening to it, and I was like, oh my goodness, such amazing freaking composers out there doing such great work on these video games. It's a whole different world for me. It didn't even exist. I mean, I knew of video game composing and composers. As a matter of fact, I'd left a message for him, but I had no idea that Jamie Christopherson, who's the composer for one of the Metal Gear games, or he did. I knew him when he was just coming up, and I remember him bumping in at a restaurant, and we met through somebody else, and he was going, yeah, I just built a new studio, it's up in a loft, and I just started working with so-and-so and so-and-so, and I was already writing for libraries and stuff, and he was working with somebody else. And then I did that Metal Gear review, and he left a message on, or a comment, and then I tagged with him up on Facebook. It's just such a small freaking world, but such great talent out there. Anyhow, okay. Excuse me. Let's go for something else here. Heroes. It's Might and Magic. Let's try this. Ha. There we go. I narrowed it down. I meet everybody halfway. Okay, here we go. I guess this is the one I'm going to do here. Wow, is this a platformer? I mean, is this a sandboxing one? Wow, this looks really slick. Is this kind of like like an ultra juiced Minecraft? That looks really killer. No, don't worry, Snoop. All right, here we go, guys. Let's do this. This is from a 2014 game from a company I got. It's called Ubisoft, and a strategy game. All right, let's do this. Bring me into the fold here. Heroes of Mighty and Magic 3, Rampart Town theme. All right. Nice little fantasy vibe. Sounds like a sitar for sure. Oop, that wasn't me. Very wide open, very breezy, but very fantasy. And yes, that opening was like a sitar. Hey, Rex Wrath, how are you? Welcome to the Twitch. And there was a sitar in there, so that kind of threw me off a little bit because it was the only standout. Like sometimes when I listen to cultural instruments that are put into compositions, I try to identify others that might take me down the path of maybe, let's just say, the origin of the game, or it could be the background. It could be, you know, the game is supposed to mimic, let's say, you know, a Celtic vibe or whatever. But it was the standout instrument in the rest of this was these very laid back mellow pads that were being placed with this nice little flute arrangement that was going down. But excuse me. But and the flute arrangement's actually in the back. So, and all the pad work, and for those of you, just if you're new here, pads are what composers use as a term for when you hold down, let's say, a chord on a keyboard, but it has a string-like sound. So it doesn't necessarily have to sound like strings, but it has a very wide, beautiful, sometimes very ethereal, mellow sound to it. And so various different types of pads and stuff. But in this case, the rhythm in this seems like it's in 6/8, or kind of in that waltz kind of a thing. Dun, 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 dun. So I don't know where this is in the game because I don't know anything about the game, but this seems like it could be one of those kind of transition or establishing scenes, or maybe working on something. You're building something and it's kind of that escorting kind of vibe, kind of like the music from C418 does on Minecraft, how he brings it in and brings it out kind of a thing. See how it sounds like strings, but they're really not, but it is kind of. See, there's that sitar that kind of. That was great. I love the ending on that. Now that was obviously a simulated, or it was a harp that we just heard kind of slow down in the pattern that we heard in the background. But we heard more an aggressive, established pattern. It could have been they were using a pizzicato kind of vibe, or doubling up the sound with the harp and that dun, 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 which kind of helps keep a little bit of that momentum going, in the sense that if this is part of the game that you're building something, excuse me, that you're building something, you're working on something, then you know, this is it's like great background for like you're farming, you're building, whatever. I did ask, I don't know if you guys, it's a strategy game, Park Pal says, Park Pal, and of their own. Oh, I see. Oh, and you build an economy. Okay, that's great. It's a capitalist game. No, I'm kidding. I don't know why I said that. By the way, Rex Wrath, thank you for raiding me. I just learned what a raid was, and I had no idea. It happened to me the last time out, and all of a sudden, everyone's going, dude, you just got raided. I'm like, I was looking at my Minecraft. I thought I triggered something. I was like, zombies were coming after me, but thank you very much. Yeah, yeah, it was very charming, very laid back and stuff. And I gotta tell you something, man. I love tracks like that. That brings such a, all of us, every single one of us, even if you're like from my heavy metal channel, let's say you're just fully into death metal, metalcore, black metal, there's always a palette of songs, and there's always one or two that are the palette cleansers. And for me, it's these kind of tracks. Like I can go from this, and then I can go to Behemoth or Septic Flesh or something, which is some of the gnarliest, heaviest metal and stuff. As long as I can come back to this, you know, and be brought down to a sizzle, you know, from a sizzle down into just kind of a, you know, simmer, and I can chill and get my, you know, emotions together and stuff. This is one of those great tracks that just puts you in this like super chill plane, you know. Excuse me. So, yeah, okay, so I'm going to do one more and we'll go back to Minecraft. So speaking of some metal, some gnarly stuff, why don't you guys throw at me something, an OST from, I've done a lot from Mick Gordon, so I don't want to do too much from him because I know I have to go back eventually, and if he ever gets back to me for a podcast, I want to save a couple things to go through with him. So what other video games have some nice for me? Okay, something called F0X. Now I think I did one from the game already, because I definitely recognize the game title, but I think I only did one, and that was definitely not this title. Is it Fall Down to the Scream? It's this one, right? Let me see. Yeah, I'm assuming it's this one here. That the 7-minute one is maybe it's a redo or something, or a continual loop. And this one, well, this one must be it, because it comes from a channel that says Video Games OST 1. So, all right. So it looks like this is what we're doing, and then we're going to go back to some Minecraft. All right. Let's do this, guys. This is F0X OST, Fall Down to the Scream. All right. No one's counting on me for anything. What a great bass sound. You know what is a trip about this is that, considering this is for a video game, and what year was this? I don't know if I asked. What year did this one come out? You guys let me know. And it's got such a big bottom end. That bass player's fingers is blistering, guaranteed. So this is 98. And even though we've stepped into, according to a few folks, thank you guys for firing up on it, still very bottom endy. And I don't remember where sound bars were at that time. Were there sound bars in 1998, you know, that you attached to your TV? You know, because usually the speakers on either a game set or headsets, you know, they're small. And this has got some really bottom end, like they really wailed up on it. And I guess because of the quality of this, maybe this is the actual track. I heard a couple of people say that there was, this might have been a cover. Nonetheless, so everything about this is 100% organic because you can hear the human elements in the performance. It's not super nutted up tight like everybody edited right on the spot and quantized everything. These guys went in and they nailed it. Even the fast, you know, the lightning fast shred that's going on in the back, there's some parts of the articulation that make it very human. So that's why this is like real super full-on speed metal organic. How do you do? You know what's really cool about this is that the drums own the ambiance of this track. So in other words, there aren't really fat doubled up guitars that are chunky and big left and right and stuff like that. The whole ambiance of the track is owned by the drums, even though it could be just a small reflection that's on the overheads or something like that. But I think that's great. I love that. That was great. So what is this game though? It looks like it's race cars. I can't tell by the artwork. What is this gameplay? I guess I'm just looking at the, you see me looking at the camera, but I'm really looking at my monitor. I can't quite figure it out of what that is. Yeah, it looks like it's just super slick ass cars, yeah? Oh, super high speed game. Okay. All right, super cool. All right, guys, we're going to go back and do a little bit of gameplay on some Minecraft. First, Courageous Curry, thanks for the follow. Kuruko fan, mahalo again for the follow. And Brenner, did I thank you so much for the resub? Thank you. Yes, you did. I did. Yes, you did. And Mr. Moogs.